Most memorable stories and brands have a large cast of characters, heroes, small and big key players, but they also have addresses, homes. I am at Tulsi Farms in Chhatarpur, Delhi, the home of one of India's foremost lifestyle and luxury brands, Good Earth, that is 25 years old in 2021 this year. This space symbolizes the ethos of the brand. It has a vegetable farm, large open spaces, green lush trees, design studios that look out at nature, pencils, stencils, people talking design, furniture wearing beautiful upholstery, fabric swatches. But to really understand what went into these 25 years, let's go back to the original address, the mind of its creator, Anita Lal.
I think 25 years is a landmark, there's no question. And it was something I actually hadn't even dreamt or thought that I'll be sitting here and thinking about the 25 years. There is definitely nostalgia. There's, I must say, satisfaction. There's all the, I think more than anything else, we have created a wonderful team. We've created a brand which is India proud. That makes me feel very good.
That really takes me back long, maybe actually 25 years ago. I have memories of working with Mum on the name. We had different names for this thing that eventually became Good Earth, and little did we know it's going to be 25 years later how it's going to be. But I remember sitting on the bed and tossing out different names and ideas, and so that's one memory I have. I have a memory of in our Tulsi farm. You've been there, where we work out of our headquarters, or at least our big studios, and there, going there and meeting with the different. We had our pottery there at that time, so we started with a lot of the pottery there. So basically, and we used to hand paint our bowls. So just going to the pottery, Mum saying, "Acha, do you think this will look nice? Will we do this?" So it's all these things of pre-Good Earth days,
When Good Earth turned 10, Simran and Mrs. Lal took on Raghuvanshi Mills in Bombay. And before that, we were just a small little boutique in Kemp's Corner that the whole brand had been built out of that little shop. It was such a different scale, both for the scale of the shop, but what it did to the brand. That's when the consumer actually pulled us into the luxury space. We were always craft-oriented, and we were always a design house. But it was through that scale and that time, I think, of India shining, about 2005, I think that's the point at which Good Earth took a leap that made customers go, wow. It had that effect on me too. It was about that time that I chose to move to India and join Good Earth. It looked like family was doing something really special, and I wanted to be part of it.
But we all felt it was getting a little small. We needed to kind of expand. But what was interesting was I was coming from, America. I was thinking let me see what I can do to improve and, add things. And I realized even then, and this is many years ago now, but maybe 17, 18 years ago, is that, and Good Earth must have been 5-7 years old, there was such a beautiful brand recall for this brand. I think opening Raghuvanshi Mills was a huge one. That's a big inflection point according to me, and I think according to AL and me. Because, from that little Kemp's Corner, and I spent, I would say, many months of travel to Bombay to look for a space that I felt would be, of course, Raghuvanshi Mills was way bigger than what we expected it to be or to get, but we got very lucky with that time, the mill area. No one, it wasn't big at that time. And so we took a bit of a punt to take a huge 20,000 square foot space, But I think that space, and it's not just the space, when you have a space like that, you've got to honor it, And then to honor it from things that were little things that we were selling at Good Earth. We had to kind of become, it had to become really the luxe space.
I have many memories, and all are very interesting and very fondest. But my fondest is working closely with Mrs. Lal and travel with her to Jaipur for the block prints. Obviously, Jaipur is the hub of block prints, and we needed that time someone who can understand us, understand our taste, and so that we can work with them for long.
I'm a New Yorker, and I've been working in design, in fashion, and interiors for many, many years. And I've been traveling to India for 40 years. So I'm familiar with India from the time when there really were no brands or there were export houses, but not a real strong inner directed design force, we can say. And as I saw globalization affecting the world, and as I was constantly traveling the world, I realized that the ancient civilizations of China and India would at some point begin to generate a lot of creativity and eventually would, I think, dominate the world, but would certainly be a force. And I remember visiting Delhi once and visiting Khan Market and seeing the Good Earth store, and I said, voila, there it is. It's beginning to happen. It's really happening.
I think Good Earth's contribution to the Indian design scene has been at multiple levels. I think just in terms of the timeline, it's possibly the first Indian lifestyle brand that put India on the global design map. And what's amazing that it continues to do so. And I think what's really special about the brand is that the manner in which it creates meaning for people, and I think that's the role of a luxury brand, is to go beyond the functional and the visual and the aesthetic and bring meaning into our homes, and that's what Good Earth does.
I think because it has such a strong element of design and motif, I think, the English, we love India.
Yes.
And we have such a big heritage with India. So we have looked at your designs over the centuries and they've become part of our own design. So I think we relate to them completely. And also, they're so decorative and beautiful and fun and life-enhancing. What's not to love about them?
When we were doing home furnishings with Good Earth, to begin with, this is 12, 13 years back, we complemented each other, equal quality, equal aesthetics, but slightly different. And it was a great play between what Shades of India was doing and what Good Earth. So combined together, it was amazing synergy. And I believe that from there onwards, with Anita's passion for design and our skill in textiles, is what I think gradually has also brought in a new market, a new sensibility in consumers' mind for how to dress up their beds.
Look, the fact for me, actually, it's always about India. It's funny, but I know it sounds maybe even cliched, but I'm just so proud of the heritage we have, and I feel so sad that over the years, of these last hundreds of years, and definitely, is that our minds were colonized, we know that. And for me, and I am a Midnight's child, I was born at Independence as a year later. So for me, it is, and then it's the first, then when I realized that we come from this ancient land which has so much in it, and yet we keep looking to the West, we keep looking outside, we keep looking everywhere else to validate what we do or to also copy and ape what they do. And the thing that really drives me is that I want to make a narrative which comes out of here, which comes out of our people, the way we think, the way we live, the way we are very emotional people.
I have a tremendous admiration for Good Earth as a brand because it is very easy to create a brand, but it is one of the most challenging thing is to maintain a brand, and they have determined that beautifully, and they have been fantastic. The way their execution is, the way they do the product, the design, the aesthetical sense. In every respect you look into Good Earth, you go into the details of the small things. Whether you go to their stores, it's the way the display is, whether the whole ambience is fantastic.
I think the other thing that Good Earth does quite amazingly is it seeks stories and meaning by looking inwards, which means it actually is beyond fads and beyond the need to be Instagram friendly, to seek out stories from authentic traditions, cultures. I mean, India is a tapestry of civilizations that have been here over centuries, and the beauty of Good Earth is that it kind of seamlessly and shamelessly kind of traverses everything from the layers of Dravidian cultures to tribal cultures, to the Mughals, to everyone who's made India the rich culture that it has.
And so I want, through Good Earth, to look at things the way, to make things which are relevant to how we live, which is relevant. I would want an Indian to look at something I do and say, I recognize it. Yes, it comes. Maybe it reminds me of my grandmother. Maybe it reminds me the dhuna. It reminds me of things that we did earlier, the copper jug. These are things I want it to be relevant to how we live. And if I've done even a bit of it, it's satisfying.
And of course, it began with the ceramics and home textiles, and I've watched it evolve over the years.
When Good Earth launched Sustain, its first apparel line more than 10 years back, it arrived on the Indian fashion scene with a name for this collection that had begun to make sense as a movement across the globe. It also stood for India's material culture because of its reassuring use of Malka Khadi. Sustain was about Rozana or everyday wear, but it went on to include even couture, festival and occasion wear in silks and velvets, delicately created, always understated, even when it used embellishments, embroideries and hand block printing techniques from different artisanal clusters of the country. Over the years, Good Earth would also associate with a select range of fashion designers when the sensibilities and aesthetics matched. This year it launched Flow, another fashion sub-brand. Flow is a contemporary moment in the life of an Indian woman.
But in the 25th year, I thought, now let's look at the West. So we put our gaze towards the West, which was a challenge because we don't think on those terms. And so in our new collection, Bosphorus, it's really an amalgamation of the Eastern civilizations and the Western, we went back to the ancient Western, or let's say the origin of the Western design, which was the Greek and then the Roman style, which had a lot of, it's a typical look that they have, the festoons that they do, all the ribbons and the fruit. It was all about fertility. It was all about nature, even in those days. And then the Eastern, I wanted the mystery of the cheetahs, the palms, things like that.
It was Anita, and it was part of her big celebrations of 25 years and choosing the Bosphorus, where the East meets the West. And she sent various ideas to me to explore, and I immediately fell in love with the idea of pomegranates and roses. So I then came up with designs based on that. The pomegranate is such a huge thing in the East and representing life and fertility and things. And in the West, the rose is, romance and love. So it seemed a great combination.
The success of Good Earth is only Anita Lal. Her vision, her passion, her creativity, her design sensibility. To me, Good Earth is Anita Lal and Anita is Good Earth. And I absolutely respect her for that. I think she's very unique as a personality.
I think Mum, in my opinion, has that, at this age, has more energy than most people I know put together, and which I love. So we want her to keep at it, and, because that's also what keeps her young. That's what keeps her alive and active,
Good Earth matters for me, people like me most, because they are providing us a platform, which is like a world-class platform, which people like us, or small organizations like us, or companies like us cannot afford.
I would say the most important inflection point for Good Earth is today, at 25 years. We started off as a really quiet brand, India's favorite secret. We stepped out, we grew larger in our teenage years, both in terms of scale and offering. At 20 years, we went to London, we sponsored the Fabric of India. We found our voice in the context of the world. And now at 25, I think we've understood how we want to engage with the world, which is we really want to be rooted and have our identity always be from India. But even when we engage with the world, it is from our business interests being also rooted in India. In this digital landscape, it's the perfect time to actually reach out in a virtual format and keep our core offering here within India.
Day without fragrance for me is a day lost. There's nothing. Fragrance, for me also, even flowers, I just don't enjoy a flower which doesn't have fragrance. So in my own home, my only fragrant flowers are, I only keep fragrant flowers because they must give fragrance, and fragrance really is the essence. In Hindi we also say the ras, and the ras is the emotion inside anything that you do. So fragrance is a very important part of my life. I have been doing this for many years, and now we've actually launched, I think, India's first fine fragrance design house, which is we've launched it just 1st of October at Bergdorf Goodman, and we've had amazing reviews from all of the people there. And these are fragrances which come from a very Indian point of view.
And so the story goes on, spiking through these 25 years that have gone by, and in the future round the corner. Some revealed here through the business of fragrance, the rest unveiled so far. It is actually a compelling instance of how a tenacious brand and its creator become a two-headed figure, both emblematic of a certain culture and its practice, or India by design, as Anita Lal may agree.